Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching this live from. My name is Denise Belil, and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Before we start, I'd like to remind you that'll be amazing that you're watching the show. So just say hey, hello, just say hello when you come in. Or if you're watching it on replay, do hashtag replay so that I know that you've been there, you watched it. Don't be afraid to post, comment, because I'm always happy to get back to the talk and then reply to your comment or help you if you have any question. I am I'm here today with Kitti Andrews, but she's late. So I'll keep talking until she arrives. And I would like to remind you also, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please subscribe to my channel and like and click on the little bell so that you're notified next time I upload these lives. So today, I want to explain also why it's called It's All Go. It's All Good. Look who's here for a chat. The reason I call that It's All Good, look for it for a chat is the first reason why I called it It's All Good. It's because of my favorite cup. It says It's All Good. So that's one very simple reason. But why is that important to me? Is because I feel that whatever happened in your life, whether something bad or negative happened few years ago, a few days ago, or even a few seconds ago, then my reaction is it's all good because there's nothing I can change about it. There's nothing I can change about what happened a little while ago and even a long time ago. And I know sometimes we tend to, I was thinking about that this morning, and we tend to keep anger, I would say, in our heart about people, event, or reaction of people. But when you do that, when you are feeling that anger inside of you, all you do is hurting yourself because a lot of time other people are not really understanding what's going on and how that like they don't know, like it's almost like taking a poison pill and hoping that somebody else gets sick. So don't keep that anger with you. Say it's all good. I choose to let go and I choose to move forward in a more peaceful and positive way. What about the future when you get all stressed out about event that might come up in the future? Well, again, it's all good because you can't control the future. You can work towards getting organized with your future, but having control over what's going to happen, really, you can't control that. All you can do is move forward and hope that things will work out, and if they don't, then it's in the past and then it's all good. You see, it's sort of a circle where we can work together. So the reason also I wanted to wish you, because today is March 21st, and I'm celebrating the blossom in the trees. Oh, hold on, somebody's calling me. Here we go. I'm celebrating the blossoms in the trees and the spring that we have here in Vancouver. We're lucky in Vancouver. We always have early spring as opposed to people that still have snow. And I'm really sorry for you, unless you really love winter and you love going skiing. I saw a picture on Facebook last week of my nephew, which is he took some time off and he went skiing with some of his friends, and he looked like he had a great time, which is awesome. When you enjoy and participate in the season and use what you have, well, that's the way to do it for sure. So spring is here. Unfortunately, we have a lot of rain, but you know what? It's all good because we need the rain to fill up our reservoir here in Vancouver so that we have water all summer, because it doesn't rain much here in the summer, which I love a lot. But spring is my favorite season. So I wish you an amazing spring and enjoying all the beauty of life that is coming back into our environment. The flowers, the green's going to get greener, the snow's going to melt. Everything around you is for the best. Also, one more thing, yesterday was International Happiness Day. So, what does happiness mean in your life? How much happiness do you have, and how do you um, feed happiness? Happiness is so important in everyone's life, but what brings happiness? That's the main question. And one thing I can say for myself is what makes me happy is just being. We shouldn't be happy, I think, anyway, in my opinion, we shouldn't be happy because we are with someone like our loved one. We're not happy. We shouldn't be happy because we have a wonderful partner. We shouldn't be happy because we have an amazing job. We shouldn't be happy because we just want some money. Happiness should be whether you have nothing or everything, you should be happy. And that should be what brings you into happiness all day long, all week long, all year long, for no reason. And how do you achieve that? The first step to achieve happiness is to be grateful. When you start being grateful for everything that are around you, then I can then you can bring more happiness to yourself. Just give me a second. My guest is messaging me. There you go. And and then when you bring happiness, then more grateful you are for everything that is around you. What can you be grateful for? Everything. Like, are you grateful that you have this computer or phone or tablet or internet that you can communicate with people, that you can watch this video? Aren't you grateful that you have a roof over your head? Because right now it's raining, and if I didn't have a roof over my head, then I would be pouring rain. I'm grateful that I have a comfortable bed to sleep in. I'm grateful that I'm healthy. I can breathe clearly. I can see clearly, even though I have to wear those little glasses to not see a little bit blur, but that's all. It's good. I mean, I'm grateful that I can have glasses so that I don't see blurry. You see all these things that we can be grateful for: the food, the water I drink. It's amazing. I can drink this water every day, lots of water. There's a lot of clean water where I live, and I'm grateful that I can drink this water. I'm grateful for the food I eat. I'm grateful for my friends that are around me, and all of that, the gratefulness that I express within myself and in my heart, then I can be very happy with that. And now I see that my guest is ready. This is amazing. I'm looking forward to introduce her to you. So her name is Kitti Andrews. And I'm really excited that we're going to talk about thought organization. She's a thought organization or strategist. So thought organization strategist. And our topic today, which will be main focus on our conversation, is the why and how of clearing your space and brain to focus on attracting and serving premium clients. That's very interesting. How do you attract your premium clients, or even just the people around you, right? So let me give you a little bio about her. So Kitti Andrews is the founder and CEO of Declutter the Brain. Work with coaches and consultants to eliminate their physical and mental clutter so they can focus on attracting and serving premium clients. As known as your thought organization strategist, Kitty believes that physical clutters and lack of concentration are very closely related. And I believe her because if you're cluttered in your mind, the rest of your life will be cluttered too. So I look forward to talk about that. And her 20 years of experience in helping people to get their surrounding under control had led her to create a step-by-step one system that helps her clients to go from broke to overwhelmed, to well off, organize, and focus. So, without any further delay, let me welcome Kitty on the stage. So, welcome. I'm so glad you made it.
Hello, Denise. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And you?
Fantastic, fantastic.
Good,
Thank you.
good. Yeah,
We
technology is a weird thing, Sometimes we want that to work, and it's like, but I'm glad you're here. I hold up the camp while you were not there, so it's all good, as I used to say.
absolutely, absolutely, and you were making some wonderful points while I was trying to navigate. It's telling me to do one thing and then another thing, and you were
Yes.
making some wonderful points about yeah, it's in the past.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
just let it go.
now I, like, I don't have anything, like, for example, like, I can't imagine, I can't point finger at people because I don't know whom, but let's say someone else would be the host and the guest didn't show up, and it would be like all fluttered and all angry, and it's like, what the hell, we had an appointment, didn't show up, and why is she late? And but for me, it's like, hey, I made time. I talked about happiness. I talked about being grateful, and I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful that, we're together, and I really look forward to our talk. So let's start with asking you. I'm something that really got my attention when you talked about you're a thought organization strategist. So tell me more about that. What is a thought organization strategist?
Well, it's a fancy name for a thought organizer.
Mm.
And where that came from was a client once referred to me as an organizer, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something I'm really not. I'm not the Martha Stewart, and with the fancy little plastic
Yeah.
bins and all of this kind of stuff. And she says, "No, no, no, Kitty, that's not what I mean." She said, and I can still hear her voice. She said, "You help people to organize their thoughts
Hmm.
so that they can focus on something. Because of course, I help people to declutter their spaces and give them the steps. But she said, I could probably do that myself, but sometimes my brain can just be overflowing with thoughts." And
Ah,
you just need to be compartmentalized
yeah.
is- into steps. But I'm sure that you have felt, when you're starting your morning and you have a million things to do, like entrepreneurs do, and well, what do I do first? Well, I should do that. Well, should I? So that's where that came from.
Yeah. And I can see that also with helping people, even like declutter, like spaces. Like I know people that have like so much clutter, like, the type that you have to walk around,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you kind of build a space so you can walk around. But then these people, when they go into a room that is super cluttered, let's say the spare bedroom that became the let's put everything in there so it's out of the way. But
yeah.
when they walk in there, it's mentally very challenging because you get your mind going around. It's like, well, where do I start? How do I, like, your mind just go all over the place. You look at a pile there, you look at the pile there, you look there, and you're like, I don't know where to start. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to handle. It's stressful, right? It's, I don't know how to handle that much clutter, so I rather do nothing. So then they back off and say, I don't want to do anything. But if I imagine that if they're more comfortable mentally when you help them decluttering their mind, then
Yeah.
it helps them being able to calm down and be okay. Let's take this and start just with that. Right? Is that how that works? That's how I visualize it when you were talking.
That's precisely how it works, and you
Hmm.
would be amazed uh, at how how closely physical and mental clutter are intertwined. It really is a chicken and egg situation. And I have asked clients this: which do you think comes first? And people can't really. They lean towards the mental clutter coming first, but
Hmm.
really and I'm sort of leaning towards that too. But physical clutter and mental clutter, which does come first? Are you
Mhm.
physically cluttered because you've got so much going on in your brain and you just let things pile up, or or are you mentally cluttered because you're looking at all of these things and these mountain of things, and
Mhm.
it's a double-edged sword. So if you start, what I always start with is, let's clear a path. Let's let's clear a physical path, and then the clarity seems to
Mhm.
follow suit
Yeah.
after that. And that's how it seems to work, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it can be life changing.
Yeah, I can see that. And I would tend to be more into the mental clutter first and then that trigger into the physical clutter because like the reason why we have cluttered, like things are piling up and things like that, is because we don't put the mental energy into taking care of it. And
Yeah,
then we just, oh, I can't, where would be the first answer to people? To, oh, I can't deal with this right now, let's put it there. So if
yep,
you cannot deal with it right now, it's because your brain doesn't have the capacity to go and deal with it.
that's right.
So for me, I'm voting for mental clutter first, and that caused the so that's my vote. So if you're watching this, I want you to type in
Mm.
mental clutter first or physical clutter first. I want to see that in the comments once people are watching this. So
Yes, yes, I'd be interested to see this as well.
yeah, so let me know also, how did you get started? Like how did that came about for you to do that type of work?
Oh, good heavens. I've I've always been a little bit of a stickler about putting things where they should be, even when I was a kid. But I've certainly had my cluttered moments when people dump a lot of things on me. But for 18 years out in Western Canada, I had a cleaning business, and I found myself just making small little rearrangements or in people's homes as I was
Mhm,
cleaning
mhm.
them. And in retrospect, I'm always amazed that nobody ever called me on it and said, what did you do here? They always said, "Oh, wow, it looks much better."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right. I don't really need that pile of papers over there. It really should go. And I would get their brain thinking. And then the time was starting to come where it wasn't good for me to be in a cleaning business anymore. You reach that time where it's time for
Yeah,
a
move
career,
on. Yeah, for sure.
and it started to turn into decluttering for real estate staging, which I was doing
Yeah,
real
yeah.
estate cleaning anyway.
But that's
And
fun.
yeah, yeah, it really is fun. And then that morphed into virtual decluttering.
Mhm.
At that time, we were really only just starting to learn about virtual anything,
Mhm.
and it has just evolved from virtual physical decluttering to virtual mental and physical decluttering.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool because I found I like that because it just flows very naturally
Mhm.
and now with the fact that COVID hit and then we were all virtual, that kind of spiked the business. It's like, hey, take your phone and walk around your house and I'll help you. I'll tell you, I'll support you on where to go and how to do it, even though you couldn't be there in person. And that opens up so much the who you can help, right?
Absolutely.
You're not restricted to your area where you can drive and go help people, but you can help people pretty much everywhere.
That's right. And a realtor friend, when I first started it, he coined an expression. Can I share it with you?
Absolutely, yeah.
He said virtual decluttering. He said, if I understand this correctly, virtual decluttering is a less intrusive, more focused way to to clear your to clear years of mess. So less intrusive is a big part there,
Less
because
intrusive.
you don't want, if you have a clutter problem, you may be ashamed, you may be embarrassed, you may not want someone in your home to see the extent of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yet, if you do it through the screen, then you can just focus on
It's less
one,
invasive. Yeah.
and you are not showing you don't feel like you have to clean for the cleaning lady. All right, you don't feel it, and so there's a
Been
lot.
there.
Yeah, I don't we all? And you can focus on that one room, and as you get more comfortable with the practitioner, that being me, then you can open up, and
Yeah.
it the extent, but you can do it at your own pace with what you feel comfortable with, and that's why I love it too, because it gives me time to get to know the client. Because if you have someone, and my cousin experienced this a long time ago, had an organizer come into her home, and this woman was making uh, dictums, orders, basically giving my cousin orders about, you have to get rid of the cat, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Mhm.
My cousin was completely freaked out. Number one, at letting someone in her house in the first place, she was
Yeah.
already freaked out.
Yeah.
And number two, with all of these dictums coming at her about, thou shalt do this, thou shalt do that, and she
It's
got
stressful.
completely, yeah, yeah, and she got overwhelmed and she didn't do it. I ended up helping her 2 years later.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Wow. But once someone is organized, and let's say you go in and you help someone to declutter, how can you stop them? Like, what can stop, how can they stop themselves, because you can't stop anyone from getting to be cluttered again? So how do you handle that? So how can people, once it's cleaned up, stay decluttered?
The idea is, it's almost like putting the cart before the horse. But if you do your decluttering process slowly and step by step, then and that's another difference between virtual and in person. In person, everything is done, bam, it's done. But the
Yeah.
person hasn't learned anything. They
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
explored why they have. We delve a lot into the why. Why do I have
Fundamental.
that stack of magazines? Why do I keep buying them? Why won't I throw away these papers? But when you are doing uh, when you're going through a stack of papers one at a time, then believe me, it starts to train your brain. Hey, I wonder if I could do this better. Maybe I could get online bank statements, for example.
Mhm.
Brain starts to say, number one, I never want to go through this again, and I'll do anything I can not to.
Yeah.
And it just, the process being a little bit slower makes it more likely that you succeed. I keep in touch with my clients from a couple of years ago, and I'll ask, "How are you doing? Is everything are things still pretty ship shape?" And they say, "It looks like when we stopped our consultations 2 years."
Wow, that's awesome.
I know, right? And that just um, speaks to my heart so much, that
Yeah.
it works. If you slow and steady, it beats fast every time.
Mhm. Wow, that's pretty cool, because then it shows that they've the work that they have done on themselves with you really helped, really helped them to stay focused on their why. Because
Yes.
if you don't know your why, like you're saying, like I remember those show, I don't know if it's still on because I don't have cable, but those show on TV with that lady, she had like the pink dusters, and she was like very flamboyant, and she would go in people's house with their team, and she would like clean up the house within, a weekend, right?
Right.
But then when you do that, you don't work the person that's being decluttered. She's That person is not really working on their why is it clutter and why should I declutter. And I can easily see that after a year that the house is just the same, because yeah, I got a clean house now after a weekend of having a TV crew coming in and decluttering my house. But But then afterwards, like if you don't work on your why, if you don't work on why is it important for you to have chosen to be decluttered and why you should stay decluttered, then I can see that coming back. Right? It's like diet, right? Like people go on extreme diet and
Right.
they go and starve themselves for a month or two and they drop the weight and they're like, wow, this is awesome. But in reality, if you look at them a year later, they would have gained the weight back or more,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Because
Oh,
they
yeah.
didn't work on their why. They just went on a starving fee for,
Yeah.
for a couple months. And yeah, you skin down, you become skinnier, but then at the end that's just coming back. So that's a little bit the same, I imagine, like anything that people do if they don't work on the mental. That's why I say mental is the first. Please
That's
stay on the
right.
path.
Absolutely. Instilling good habits in yourself.
Yeah.
And that good habits, what do they say? And, six, there are varying schools of thought as to how long it takes to instill a good habit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Say 90 days or whatever it is. But it
Yeah.
takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Going to the gym twice a week does not happen overnight. But
Yeah.
if you overdo it and do too much at the beginning, then you're setting yourself up for failure,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, if
the
you start by going to the gym like 7 days in a row and do lots of heavy weight, you'll be sore, you'll be tired, you'll be exhausted. Most likely you're not gonna eat properly. And then, at the end of the week, you say, that's it, I'm not doing this anymore. Can I
right.
cancel my membership?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Same concept.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And so tell me, like, how can people like actually um where was I going with that? What's the what's the key ingredient for people to have successful decluttering? So how can people like let's say someone listened to this and say, let me s- let me do that. Like I can do it. I don't need anyone to do that with me. So it's possible, right? Because it's nice to have support, but what would be the key ingredient for people to get started? And of course, we'll give all your information so people can reach you later if they do want to have someone to support them, because I think it makes a huge difference to have accountability. But let's say someone say, oh God, I want to try it. And so what's the key ingredient?
Uh, well, you already touched on one of the points, and that would be have a strong why.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we can go further on that because everybody has a different why. Maybe your spouse is giving you the why can't you keep the why can't you keep this and keep this nice or even get this nice, or your boss, external people external from yourself. You can do it to please and please them. You may want to further your career. If you're an entrepreneur and you know that you're being distracted by your clutter, then you may just say, I can't do this anymore. Which was one of my turning points, and I'm going to do something about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a strong why and a visualization. Now I know that woo woo visualization, but if you can visualize a clear space and yourself walking into your clear office, we'll
Mm-hmm.
take office for now, and feeling calm and control. And that could be a little difficult if you are in the middle of a oh my mess. That can feel a little difficult to visualize that. But if you can, then that will certainly help a lot to get you started. I hope I answered
Mm-hmm.
the question.
Yeah, yeah, that was very interesting. But that brought another question into my mind because in the introduction, we talked about how can clearing up your space and brain to focus on attracting and serving premium clients. So tell me a little bit more about that.
I've seen it time and time again, and I've experienced it. Where and was maybe your whole house is cluttered, but part of my system, and we're probably going to get into my system if we have time.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is we're going to focus on the office right now. So you're sitting down at your desk. It is chock a block of papers,
Yeah.
right? And you are trying to get organized for your clients for the day, and you're reaching your reach outs for the day, things like that.
Yeah.
And you're scrambling. It's 2 minutes to your client, and you're scrambling for their file. So you come to the call, you're rushed. I'm sorry, I can't find you. Your credibility is kind of not as good as it could be.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they can sense it,
Of
and they
course.
want
Of
to
course.
know that you are there for them, totally there for them. Right? So it hurts your credibility with
Mm-hmm.
if you are misplacing. I'm not saying anything new here. If you're late with your bills because you can't find them, you don't have some sort of good system that you can rely on. If you're trying to attract more clients, but you get on a discovery call, and they can feel whether they're going to be in good hands with you or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you it emanates off you, and if
Yeah.
you do not feel, you can pretend. Okay, and we've all had to pretend. Maybe we've had a stressful moment in 15 minutes before with a bad phone call, but you come to the call in control,
Yeah.
and they can feel if you're not, and that will cost you money right there if the
Of course. Of course. Like they get very dissatisfied, and I can't imagine that. Like it it probably did happen to me in the past because having my coaching clients, and then I know there's time whether I don't feel well, and then I come to the call
sure.
and I don't have the same energy that I usually have, or I haven't reviewed because I don't feel well. I didn't review what we talked about in the last session, and then I come in and I feel like whether they feel it or not, but I know I feel disorganized. I feel that I was like, oh, what did we talk about last time? Or
Yeah,
then when that happened, like I feel bad, and I do my best for them to feel not to feel it. But I can see that. I can see how that can be affecting. And even like not being organized. I was on a conference this weekend, and we talked also about like follow up and how following up is very important. So I imagine that if you're not organized and if you're not structured, and having your file in order, then you don't do the proper follow up with the people that you should follow up with, because there's been proven that you need to follow up several times in order to get a client, or to get some involvement with whomever you want to do
right.
business.
That's right.
So do you help? Well, go ahead, and then I'll ask you another question.
Okay, I was going to say one last point is if there are piles of clutter in your office or on your desk or whatever, there's that little niggle that not only is it hurting your self-esteem of why can't I keep this clean? Oh, when am I going to get to it?
Mhm.
Those thoughts are distracting. They're taking up
Yeah.
mental energy. So you're just getting tired, more
Mm.
tired,
Yeah.
more quickly, and I really should get to yeah, okay, yeah, I'll focus on this. I really should, okay, I'll focus on this.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's the syndrome of, I call that the syndrome of post-it. Like people have post-it on their screen, or I've seen people that's okay, I gotta do this, like the to-do list, but with post-it, and then they're trying to work and say, oh, I haven't followed up with that person. Oh, I didn't call this person. Oh, I still need to do that list. Oh, I still need to prepare that. Like you have all these things in front of you, which is like not being mentally focused on what you need to do, and that create imbalance, because you can't really focus. The ideal is to take one task, get it done, and then move on to the next one. Do one
yeah,
task, get it done, move on to the next one, and focus like energy to be completely allocated your time to that one task, and that will help people. I will help you to really put it off your mind. Then it's like, okay, done, put in a drawer, finish. Done, put in a drawer, finish, and not to build up, right? Not to accumulate all these things that we should do. You
Ah,
know,
yes, the should word.
Good.
I call it the S word.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I should. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your system, about how, like, the way you work with people, like, and who should be contacting you, and if you have like one major tip that you could give our listeners.
Okay, that's a bunch. So I'm going to break it down into one topic at a time.
See, she's
There's your
organized, one
there's
thing
your
at
key.
a time, just one
There's
thing
your
at a
key
time.
word. Uh, is my one system,
Mm.
and that's what it's called.
It's called the one system. That's
Yes, it
cool.
is.
I like that.
And what do I mean by that? It's deceptively simple, and I designed it because, especially when a lot of my clients are ADHD, our brains are all
Mm.
very, very busy at the
Yeah.
best of times, and there's so much going on. Okay, so you're tempted to start a little bit in this room, start a little bit in that room because you're easily bored. No, pick one room and do everything you can to finish that. Now, that takes a
Mhm.
lot of discipline, but the reason and please don't start with the biggest room in the house that has all the Christmas decorations. I ask you, please don't. Okay. If you stick with that one room, then you can see tangible progress every time you walk in there. Whereas if you're doing a little bit in the office, a little bit in the bedroom, yada yada, then you don't see as much progress. So you don't feel that momentum of yes, I can do this, I can conquer this. Focused like focus always works every time. So then we go on, so you've got one room at a time, then you've got one area of that room at a time. Okay, I'm going to start on the pile in that corner. Well, I should start over there. The closet needs the desk. I'm tired. I'll do it. I'll try it tomorrow. All right. Pick
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
area and stick with it for the same reason. You will see results, and that will fuel your momentum, because this is where it
Mhm.
really starts to be all about mental. Because you mentioned before about people trying and giving up. Overwhelm. Overwhelm is such a
Yeah.
huge factor that you need to take every step you can to avoid that feeling of overwhelm and
Mhm. Mhm.
go, yes, I can, because self esteem is a big part of this, and
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
And if you're an entrepreneur, coach, consultant, which is who I serve, you need all of that you can get,
Yeah.
right?
Of course. Of course.
And then we go to one thing at a time.
Mhm.
One thing at a time, meaning if you've got a stack of papers, yes, Virginia, you do have to go through that stack of papers one piece of paper at a time. Now, is it tedious? You bet. Is it time consuming? Absolutely. Is it the absolute best way to do it? I've had people argue with me about this. But yes, it is. And the reason for that is, as I mentioned earlier, maybe your shopping habits. You're in the grocery checkout. Do you really need that magazine that you just threw out 8 of that you never read? Your brain starts to think, I've got all these bank statements here. I think I'm going to put them online. I'll get my statements online. Um, those are the two examples that
Yeah.
come to my head right now. But my point is, your brain is, because you're moving slowly and tediously, which is really, really difficult for anyone who's a high pressured overachiever. It's difficult. You want it done yesterday, don't you?
Yeah.
Uh, but if you do it that way, then that is what is going to have the lasting results. Is, again, you never want to do it again, and you're retraining your brain.
Yeah. That's fabulous. Great. Great advice. So
So
part number two.
Okay. What was the other? There was another question
I
there.
know I asked you too many questions. It was like, how can people find you, and do you have any gift for people listening?
I do indeed, and I don't have the paper copy in front of me, but they can find me at declutterthebrain.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that again, declutterthebrain.com. I was talking too fast there. And what we first gift is to download a PDF, 7 easy steps to conquer physical and mental clutter, and it really is 7 easy steps which are meant to be followed in order. That shouldn't surprise you, Denise. And comes with short little videos, 3 minutes a
Oh,
piece, with yours
wonderful.
truly, so you'd never feel alone in your journey, because you get we get so many emails without the personal touch. And these are
Mm-hmm.
just short, digestible for somebody who's feeling right. So just something to cheer them up a little bit. And also at Declutter the Brain, there book a call and we can I listen. I actually listen to you to
Mm.
hear what your clutter is actually costing you in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships. And I give you an immediate plan that you see right now,
Oh,
results
that's
that you can
awesome.
see right away. It's not a bunch of fluff. Then we can discuss if we're fit to work together. But
Yeah.
really, the idea is to give you a jump start.
Yeah. Man, that makes a big difference. That's awesome. And I have all your link here. So what I'll do is I'll put that in the chat on wherever you're listening to this. And I will also, if you're watching this on YouTube, it will be in the description, the comment just below. So, so thank you so much, Kitty. It was such a pleasure to have you here. I mean, decluttering, it's such a big importance. That has so much importance. Decluttering the mind, decluttering the office around you, and it makes such a lighten you up, right? When people
It does.
declutter, they feel they have so much more energy, because it's very tiring to look at messy spaces. People feel that, oh no, it doesn't bother me and all that. But in the end, if you are in a clean space, why do people love to go in hotels? Because
Ah,
you walk in, there's no clutters, it's all clean, fresh, crispy sheets, like the
yeah.
bathroom is super clean, the bed is made, there's nothing on their side tables, nothing in the drawers. You walk in and it's like, wow, it feels so relaxing. Imagine if your house was like that all the time, that you could walk into your bedroom and feel that everything is in order. If you walk into your office and feel that everything's in order, that's what decluttering does, right?
Hmm. You just made me think of something I haven't thought of in a long time. When I was in having the cleaning business out west, one lady said, she said, I said, well, how much detailing do you want? Because you can
Yeah,
go,
of course, of
you
course.
can
You
do
can
a
go really
lot,
deep. Yeah.
right? And she said, make it hotelly. Hotellly, and you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
reminded me of her. And I think I'm going to say that word more often. Thank you,
Yeah.
because you made a wonderful analogy there.
Yeah.
That imagine if you could walk into your home and it was like walking into a hotel.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah,
relax.
exactly. Because
Wow.
how do we feel if we go on vacation, we want to relax, we want to be peace of mind, and you walk into the room and there's clutter everywhere and it's dirty? We're upset, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I don't want this to look like my house. I want a new room. you know, I came here to relax. I came here to have peace of mind. So
Right.
so it's yeah, I'm glad I hit a point with you too, because it's I just thought of that, but it's a great analogy, right?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So make your house an hotel room, and like, contact Kitty so that she can. I'll put the enter information in the chat, but contact Kitty just to have a consultation, just to see how she can give you those nuggets of information, so get started right away. So stay there, Kitty. I'll be back with you.
Okay.
And I just want to say thank you for the listener. Thank you for being here. Feel free to put a comment and say hi that you've been watching. Do hashtag replay if you're watching this on replay. If you're watching this on YouTube, like put a comment and subscribe to my channel as it will be there later on today. And click the little bell so you're being notified. So if you have any comment about decluttering and how decluttering affect your life, and if you have any question for Kitty, we'll be monitoring the chat even after this live. And I invite you to just share how you feel about the clutter in your house, or maybe you do or you don't. And also, we did a little survey earlier to say, does cluttering start with the mind or start with the physical? Is the physical cluttering come first, or does the mental cluttering call first? So I invite you to share in the chat your comment and see. We're doing a little survey here. So thank you so much for watching. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you. And I invite you to be back next Monday at noon, where I'll have my next guest. Until next time, be kind to one another. Goodbye.